I think it's very fair to say that the test of generation is the struggle with pornography. From the many, many young people I've spoke to, almost 100% of Bochurim struggle very often with this issue of pornography. And in this issue of pornography is an incredible limud, which Hashem was telling us in Parshas Re'eh. Hashem is telling us that there's really only two things that happen in this world. There's living and there's dying. We think that Hashem told us, don't do this and do this. This is his ratzon and this is against his ratzon. So we have to listen to him. But he's telling you that's not really true. What I told you is that I was teaching you how to live. This is life. Everything else, the reason I said don't do it is because it's death. The place where we can see this so clearly is in pornography. Hashem told us, Adam and Chava, v'hayu lebasar echad, become one. Build love between the two of you till actually your lives become so connected that it's like you have one life. Chava, Adam is required to... Adam, Hashem told us later on in the Torah, She'er ksus v'arnosa lo sigra. You have a responsibility to love your wife, to provide her with clothing, with a house, with intimacy. It's your responsibility. What happens to a man when he takes this, when he listens to Hashem and takes on this ol? What happens to him is he becomes a tzelem Elohim. He actually gets in touch with his innate desire to give and to love and to provide and to be a melech. Because every man wants deeply inside of him to be the strong one. He wants deeply inside to be the one who supports and gives and loves. And he wants to be appreciated. He wants to be received for all of this responsibility he takes on him. And a man who does this and does it well with deep love, and he finds opportunities after opportunities to give and to love, he becomes such a beautiful person. And he knows how amazing and how proud he feels of the sensitivity he developed and the givingness he developed and the warmth and the love that developed between him and his wife. And she also has that opportunity to nurture and to grow and to build and to love. And she becomes a beautiful person. And she gets filled with love. And the more mitos they create like that, what happens is the more pleasure they have. Because the more love there is, the more giving there is, the more receiving there is, the more pleasure there is. Those are the mitos of an intimate relationship between a husband and a wife. Now we take what's presented in the world from pornography. Pornography starts from a selfish place. A man who just wants to have relief of his inner desires. He never met this woman, he doesn't care about this woman, he just wants to be satisfied. This woman is not important to him. Quickly, in a pornographic scene, comes abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse. How does that happen? How does a person go to be that low? Because when a person goes to be a selfish person, and they're only trying to fill their own desires, they're even willing to do it on the cheshbon of somebody else. And even as we know, pornography gets even worse and can get into places of violence and horrible things that no normal human being would ever want. The desire for dominance, putting other people down. Would you want to be that person? Look at this man. Is this a person you're proud of? Do you think that he's a loved person, a cared about person? Would a person want to be connected to him? Do you think that he feels satisfied and connected to anybody when he finishes? Hashem is offering a life of marriage in which we can be enriched and full and appreciated and respected and be full of love. And the Satan is offering us a situation where we can be alone, where we can become selfish, we can even become cruel, we can even become mean. The women in that man's life hate that man. The women in those situations are objects. The women in those situations are being abused. They're being paid to do things they don't even want to do. They're being tortured. They're being abused. Is that something you want to be part of? Every single time you look at one of those scenes, you're changing yourself. You're taking yourself from the opportunity that Hashem gave you to be a beautiful person, a connected person, full of pleasure, to a selfish person, to a person who doesn't care about anybody else, is willing to hurt people. Every time you look, you rewire yourself, because if they make it look good, you internalize that's good. Every time you go towards a step of building your sensitivity, building your caring for somebody else, building your giving to somebody else, you're building the kalim for your beautiful marriage. And when the time comes right and you find the right girl, you'll be happy to give to her and love her and be happy to be filled by her. But the more you spend time looking at pornography, you're going to make that harder and harder and harder, because you're training yourself to not notice anybody else. You're training yourself to not care about anybody else. You're training to use people, to make them objects. And not only that, to be cruel and mean and even evil. This is a very clear example of Chaim and Mavis. And Hashem is telling us, my dear children, Bacharta b'chaim, know what this is and know what this is. This is a life of pleasure and happiness. This is a life of pain and rejection. Bacharta b'chaim.